the world's smallest dab will do. You have oil on this, and this is just so I don't, there we go, like that. That's 0W20 synthetic oil, same stuff I use on my lathe. So I'm just going to take the excess oil off of that with Jacot, which is a great oil remover. And I want to put a little bit of oil on this as well, because you want it to spin and be usable, but not wear the part out, right? So just put a little tiny bit of oil on here. There we go. That's a little tiny bit of oil. So I'll take out that oil later on with Jacot. And now I want to put this part into the piece very carefully. And I'm not sure how well this will fit in, but I'm going to try. There we go. So it is in place right now. Now, it always looks like it's at an angle, and I don't know why. And I'm not sure if this is the right size. Let me see if I've got a smaller one as part of this kit here. So I do have, let me see, I've got that one there, and I have, no, that's pretty much it. I don't think I've got a smaller one. So let's stick with that for now. Actually, you can spin these around, so I'm going to spin that around. So I'm taking this out. It's a little tricky to get back in, but I think I'll be able to do it. You just do that, like this. That's the spindle part. And then, I don't know if I have to remove everything here, but because this spins around the other way. Pretty sure it does. Maybe it doesn't. Yeah, there's another spindle on this side here, but that's not the right size. So maybe I'm wrong. I've used this before without a problem though. Let me check it out. Well, as my dad used to say, you can never have too many Jacot tools. There we go. That's the Jacot of all Jacots. So I think I'm going to take this one down and look at the other one. I think the other one actually works better. So let me put this one away for a sec. I need to make sure I put the spindle back on so I don't lose it or use it. And what I did there was I entered it at an angle, and I was able to do that and put it back on. So the spindle is back on, and I'm just going to tighten that so it doesn't go anywhere, and move that in a bit, and just put that tool aside for now, like that. I think that's all of that tool. So I'm just going to close that down like that. The pivoteur extraordinaire. I'm going to put that on the ground here, put that away later. And this is a very beautiful Jacot tool. I think this is the one I normally use. I pulled that other one out for some reason, I'm not sure why, but because I have some files and stuff for this one in the side. So let me just put this one in for into the lathe here. It's a little bigger, this tool, but I'm thinking the mouth on this thing is a bit better. And I want that to be lined up a bit. I'm going to move that over a bit. That way it doesn't rub too much when I'm pulling the stuff through it. So I tighten that up. Like so. I think that's tight enough. Just want to make sure stuff doesn't get in the way. And then the same as I did last time, I'm going to grab the, I'm going to make sure this is at a 9. And it is, because that's what I used last time. And I'll show you the Jacot tool later, but it's a beautiful, this tool is in a magnificent shape. and it's got the lanterns on the end like the other one, and they're in magnificent shape. So I think this is a better Jacot than the one I showed you 2 seconds ago. So you got to pick the best Jacot for the job. That's what I always say. Yeah, the case is wanting, but you know, the case looks like it's gone through World War II, maybe World War I. So there we go. So same as last time. I want to take a little bit of oil. Let me look at the, yeah, that's a heck of a lot smaller there. So I can move this back now. And it's a little stiff there. It hasn't been used in a while. Can put a little bit of oil on this part here. I think I'll oil this up later on, but it's a bit stiff. But so be it. At least it'll stay in place, right? So let me look at that. Oh yeah, that's much better. So when I put that in, it's not going to have as big problems as the other one did. So this is already in there tight. The fingers on here are a little loose. I think I made these or did something. I did revise those fingers because I think that they were either loose or there was a problem grabbing the device. So just put it like that, and see if I can put this in without any big problem here. And just like last time, I'm resting the there we go. So that's in there nicely. Yep. And tighten that up like that. Now I have to move the spindle towards the part, and here's where I'm never sure whether to have this thing on either side of the thingamajobby doohickey or not. So just like that should do, it just has to touch. But yeah, there we go. I want to make sure that it actually stays in place, though, because it's going to spread out. I remember about this tool is special because it tends to want to do that. I think I need to repair the forks on this someday. Put that out in even more, just a bit more. There you go. It's not too bad. All right, now I got to set myself up for actually using the Jacot, so I'll be back in a sec. So I'm going to sweep it a few times with the file part, and then I'm going to sweep it with the burnisher to get rid of the material. So this is the file part here. There's a rounded part here on the end. And I'm going to use that rounded part because this will protect the part as I ride it up. So it's going to be very close to the balance. So here we go. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on this to start because I want to do that. That's why. You don't have to use a lot of oil, just enough to cover the file. And just rub it with my finger here just a bit, like that. And now I get the infamous, just lay this down for a second, I got to get the infamous badge. And I'm going to stop talking in a second because I need to concentrate. Now it's not a good idea to spin this until you've got the burnisher in place. So there, it's good there. You got a little bit too much oil in there. That's good there. And you want to be turning it to the opposite direction as you're spinning. So now, do I have a grip on it? Usually you can tell by getting a bit stuck here, but It's way too close, maybe. I'm going to turn it to the burnishing side here. That's way too close. I may actually have to change the size too, because it seems that a 9 might be too deep. The trench might be too deep for a 9. Yeah, I'm going to change that trench because I want to be able to contact this without having to work so hard. So I'm just going to move that around, and then I'm going to flip this trench around and be right back. So to do this, you just pull it out and then flip it. So this was a 9. So I pull it out and then flip it over 1 like that. And that should be an 8, which it is. And now I'll see that that lets me remove some of the material from that as an 8 versus a 9. I put that back very carefully. Just this stuff here, the later you get in the day, the harder it is to do, by the way. So if you're tired, don't do it. I think that's in place there. So I just tighten this on top like that. And then I've got to get the this jobby doohickey in place here. See where it ends up. And then when I move that forward, I just have to make sure those little forks don't go beyond the rim of this watch, because if it goes beyond the rim, then you got problems. So I'm going to see if this works at all, to take a little tiny bit of material off there. All right, get the ID thing here in place. This is tricky stuff. Tricky stuff. I don't do a lot of work with the Jacot tool, so I usually don't have as many problems with the Franken watch as this one here. So there we go, and I've got this in place now, and let's see if this actually that's all I'm going to do there. And then I want to burnish it ever so slightly. Take off any burrs. All right, that's not bad. Not sure how well that worked or what that did, but now what I'm thinking I want to do next is perhaps use the other side of this to actually shorten it a bit, but I don't want to shorten this too much. All right, so here's my decision. So looking at this configuration again, I believe I've got more space on the bottom below the balance than I have on the top. So I'm not going to take anything off the top of this because I'm really worried about it basically grounding out on the balance cock itself, right? So I'm going to see if I can take a little bit of material off the bottom of this pivot, the bottom of the balance staff here, with the Jacot, and that might lower it enough. It is going into the jewel, into the pallet fork mouth. but lowering that just a bit could solve my problem. So I'm going to switch this from the what's in here now, which is number 9. That's a number 9, and I'm going to switch that. If I get my Jacot out here, I've got a couple of lanterns here. So I've got this one here with a lantern on the end, and I think this is what I want to use. And when I look at this lantern, if you just take that off, if that for any good luck focuses for me. Does that focus? Come on, focus. There we go. Focus is not just a bad car. So this is why these protectors on, because these lanterns are very touchy. So I want to put one on there that'll fit that pivot, right? And trying to get this, turn the light off here and see if that works better. There we go. So I want one that fits the pivot perfectly, gives me enough exposure on the pivot, and allows me to remove material. Now these ones here are also marked. So this one here goes, yeah, they're 33 up to whatever, so they're pretty big. I don't know if I have a different one, another one. I'm going to have to look and see if there is another one, because that might be too big, don't know. So it just turns out that on the back end of this one was another one. So I can take the lantern off of this one, and this goes, yeah, this goes 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'll just put my hand back here so you can see. There we go, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I want to put that in at likely 9, because that should be the right size. So again, I want to make sure there's a bit of oil in there, but I'm going to push that in and see if that's 9. I think it is. I think it's 9. So now I'm going to tighten that up. This is a little trickier because I've got to put the I want to put a little oil in it after I get it in, but I've got to put it in here. But first of all, I need to find out where the part is. It's disappeared. Just don't move your chair back and forth. It's time to stop soon. I forgot I put it in here, so it's in there. So let's just take it out and get it ready for installation. All right, just like last time, I'm going to put it in very carefully. Beaucoup de care here. But I've got to put it inside the hole on the other side first, I think. There we go. That is really nerve-wracking. When you put that in the hole, if you twist it or turn it in any manner, you're going to break the pivot. So, and I've got to make sure it's turning, so what I use is a puffer. So grab yourself a puffer like this and make sure this thing turns. If it doesn't turn, you got to loosen it just a bit. Just a bit. Like that. And make sure this is turning. And there's no problem there. And I want to make sure that's good right there, I think. See, that's a bit stuck. Just back it off just a tiny bit. Right there. Now I tighten that up. And I've got myself, that's good there. So now, the trick here is not to remove too much from that pivot. Right? You got to make sure you remove a little bit, but not too much. Also, I want to put a little bit of oil on the other end here. So I do not want to be taking material off of that. So on this side here, I can take that pivot down just a hair. But I actually have to put my extra strong glasses on to do this job, because if I screw it up, I have to start all over again. And that's from the point where I have to buy a balance staff or make one. So that's probably another 8 hours worth of work or 6 hours worth of work or something like that. So here I can file this pivot with this file here as I'm moving it, or I can actually use a stone, one or the other. Both will work. You don't want to damage the pivot at all. So you can work at it from either side, and this file is basically, yeah, Anyway, it's made for pivoting. It's made for doing that. So I want to be able to remove a little tiny material, a bit of material from that. And I've got to eyeball it. That's the tricky part. You can't, there's no tool that lets you measure this as you're doing this job. It's, you eyeball it and pray for the best. That's what you're doing. So first I've got to put the forks in there again, right? So one step at a time. Pivot. So I just take this out here and I want to just move that in. It's like I did last time. Now I think I got it twisted the other way, so I want to just make sure the forks are not in the way of anything. And just like last time, I can make sure that these forks are touching the right stuff. Right now they're touching the rim of the balance, which is no good. Why are they touching the rim of the balance? I couldn't tell you. There we go. So I'm moving it inward. I need to tighten these up. I think you do it from the other end by just hitting it on it with a stake on one side and it tightens them up. I may try to do that. Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be, you see how well that spins here. There's a lot of setup involved in using this tool. All right, so that does work there. So let's take a deep breath and see if I can take some material off of this thing. Got to get my other glasses on and get in close, get in dirty. Make sure I get the right side of the file, yeah. I've taken it down a bit. Yeah, now I'm going to try something else here. I want to try using a stone because I think my stone might work a bit better on this than that file, because that file seems just a bit rough. So I'm going to grab my stone here and I keep this thing running. This is like going to give me a heart attack, but this stone here should work. And if this all works, God bless America, right? Oh, God. All right. Alrighty. And I'm going to put a little oil on this thing. A little tiny bit of oil on the stone here. And same trick as last time. Where is that? Where did that thing go from before for pulling this thing? Just hang on, I gotta look for something. Well, I don't know where the heck it went on my messy desk. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. Alright, so I just put that underneath the vise. Should tape it under there, right? It'd probably be better than the way it is because it can fly off the way it is. There we go. So that's like that. I've got the stone here with a bit of oil on it. And I'm going to see whether I can stone myself away the pivot. I'm using very little pressure on this. Geez, I think that should do. I'm going to go a little bit more, but not much. And I'm going to rest the stone on the top of it for a second. Just to allow it to take some material off the side. That'll clean that up, and then I'm going to get my burnisher out. Where are you, burnisher? There you are. And I need to get just a little bit of burnishing going on here. And that's all I'm going to do. So if that didn't work, then too bad. So that's that. Now I'm going to take this out and see if it's going to work any better on the movement. Just hang on a second. I should be able to put it in and see if it's gone down a bit. Right, so what do I got to do first? I'm getting a little bit tired right now, so just back this off like this. And then as I grab this, I want to make sure that this does not get bent at all. There we go. Moved it straight back. And then I'm going to put this in the movement. So let me just take my camera and move that around a bit. Just put this, I got to put this down here a bit on the mat, and I don't want it to get damaged or anything, so. But I shall move my camera here. Alright, this is what it looks like when you're finished and you got a big mess. And I'm sure you watchmakers out there can appreciate the mess. So if this doesn't work, it's 4:15. I'm getting a little bit tired. You don't want to continue if you're tired at all. So I'm not sure how much material I removed, and I'm hoping I don't have a different problem now. Hopefully not. But I should be able to tell when I put it back and it spins. So let's grab the movement here, and I'm just going to bend this camera up just a bit. So if I were a better cameraman, I'd be spending more time editing camera stuff, right? And I'm sure you could appreciate that. So let me just put this down into the watch on this side here. Just need to make sure it's in there. And I want to make sure it's getting inside the jewel hole like that. The good news is there's still space. I don't know if I want to start all over again. Oh my God. Somebody shoot me. So I'm just going to lower this slowly and see where I end up. So there's movement there. I'm not sure if I've taken enough off of this to allow me to put the screw in and not have a problem. So just spin this nicely here. See, it's nice and loose right now. Man, it's so close. I'm going to look at it now from the side. This is as close as it's been, but I still might want to shim it though. It does look like it's down a bit from where it was. Yeah, the jewel's definitely deeper into the mouth of the pallet fork. So, but I know that if I screw this down hard, it's probably not gonna. It's probably gonna just stay. So I don't think it's. Let me try that just for the hell of it, right? Something binged on my phone. What the hell's going on here? Oh. It's my wife telling me she's on her way home. Gotta tell the girlfriend to leave fast. Hack. Should turn all that shit off so I don't have any distractions. Shouldn't say shit, but she's really good, so it's not that problem. So the question is, if I screw this in now, did I take enough material out? I don't think I did. I really think this won't be spinning freely. Let me see what happens here. Oh man, it is so close. That's screwed in right now, and it is very close to being perfect. But it's not perfect, so I do have to take a bit more material off that. And it's the bottom one I have to remove the material from, for sure. For shizzle ma dizzle. So, back into the pit you go, buddy. Back into the pit. So working on this all day. Now, the question is if I'd put one shim in the front, because it's just a hair, just like a hair. I might be able to do it by just putting one little piece of paper in the front. Let me see. Let me see if this works. I know you guys are going to give me hell for this, but too bad. Too bad, so sad. What I'm worried about is running out of room. Real estate. I'm going to really get a real estate on the bottom of this thing. So I just put this shim in for the heck of it. And then see if I get good spinning action. There, I think that's deep enough. And let me check this out here, because I don't know if I want to put that back into Jacot and remove more. The initial job was actually to try to get rid of any burrs on that other side, on the top side, to see if it spins normally or naturally or nicely without any major problems. And I want to have this spinning a bit before I tighten it. There, look at that. So I did take material off. That's spinning nicely. It's loose. So I think I'm good. I think I'm good to go. Yeah, that's tight as hell. So, and I only have one 2-leaf shim on one side. See how that nice and loose that is? So that might be absolutely perfect. What I want to do now is just put the hairspring back on. I got it lined up. And then put some power on the watch and see if that's good. So I know I can do it with one shim, no problem. Shim shiminy, shim shiminy, shim shim cherie. Shimmy shim shim, how happy you'll be. Again, getting a bit tired, so I don't want to keep going, but that's pretty good. So that if the burr is off the top, and I don't have any issues with the jewels sticking at all, and this thing runs well right side up now, then I'm good to go. Get this out of the way. Always move your parts out of the way when you're doing watch work, because that's a way of, you can see how that just fit between these two things, eh? Man, that was close. The other thing is it going to run fast? I'm looking at I'm looking for dial washers that might have been put in a while back to slow it down. And I can't really see any. Yeah, I can't see any dial washers. Just pull this straight up here without ruining things. Yeah, come on. Sometimes it's better to use your little fingers. Yeah, that bottom pivot is smaller. Yeah, that was a good job. Good and jobbing. So now I got to put the hairspring back on, and you saw me do that earlier, so I'm not going to bother videotaping the hairspring putting on action. I'll be back in a sec. Alright, just a quick shot of this. So it's back in here now. I just have to get the hairspring and line it up. I did that before, so I'm going to not show that as well. Hairspring now sitting on top of the balance. Now you'll see how I lined the stud. See if I can point here without ruining something. Line the stud up with the red mark I put on the balance, so they should be perfectly aligned. And just look underneath to make sure I didn't screw myself. No, I'm good. So that's lined up. So I just have to push the hairspring down, and that just should go straight down without a problem. There we go. So now the hairspring is in place. Now I just need to put it back on the balance cock. Now you want to make sure that you put the Jacot tool back properly, which means taking this part out like that, and then you have to protect the lantern. I don't know how I remembered what these are called, but you got to protect the lantern with the cap and then put that back. But I want to lay the Jacot tool down. Can loosen these up a bit so they don't get out of place. Make sure there's no problems here with the with this part of the Jacot here. So it looks fine, I think. I think it looks fine. Yeah, the runner as they call it, right? So it's going to fall off in a second if I don't push this all the way through. Thank you very much. Anyway, I want to place that down. Should be fine the way it is. And then I want to put this in. This is the other one. So I want to put the one with the lantern in here. I think the lantern goes outward like that. You can see what I'm doing from the other end. And I want to have this in here. And in there like that, and I'm not tightening it, I'm just putting it in nicely. So, and then I want to make sure that if I look at this, I can see that the runner is not, it's not lined up here, so it was screwed up. So I want to make sure that that's in properly. So I just have to take this out a bit, put this at an angle. I think if I put that at an angle, it's gonna stick in there nicely. Come on, get in, don't make a liar of me. Don't make a liar out of me. Oot of me. Yeah, come on. I think there's a combination of this turning one way and the other thing turning the other way. There's a point where you just sort of give up. I remember taking the screw off the end of this before because it wouldn't go back on. But if it came off, then it has to be able to go back on, right? I can see it's just almost on. There we go. It was a matter of getting it into place. Now there we go. Now it was on, now off again. There we go. So if I do this, and I think it's the thick one there, like that. Come on, get in there. And you just have to push that home. Something stopping me here? What's going on? I'm new in town. Yeah, that looks like it's the right way. Oh, I know what it is. You actually have to screw this back. Otherwise, the other thing won't go forward. Something like that. I don't know. I'm losing my patience to do this. This is somehow stuck. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. There, now it's unstuck. So now it should ride along. If I tighten this up, this should move along. Maybe it's got to be in the other hole, the other slot, you think? may have it in the wrong slot here. I may have wrong slotted it. So if I put it in the first slot, what does that look like? That's really wrong. Man, do it later. Don't do it under film. Oh, there we go. There we go. I don't know why it's so stuck, but there it is. That's a little bit better. Still not as smooth as it was. Oh, there we go. There, in and out, in and out. Come on. There, like that. Something's getting stuck on this stupid thing. I know I got to rivet. I got to take this here and hit it down on below and rivet that in tighter so these little forks, these little teeth stay in place. So anyway, that's enough farting around with this Jacot. So there we go. You saw the use of a Jacot tool. Congratulations. I haven't used one for a while. It even comes with a little tiny pivot gauge. I hate these pivot gauges. They're useless. They're a good way of snapping off a pivot. If you've got nice pivots and you want to get rid of them, use that pivot gauge. That'll snap them right off. And I'm missing 2 files that I had in here earlier. The X files. Where are they? Oh, they're over here. 2 files. So just put those down here like that. It should be fine there. And then close this case. Yeah. This one didn't even come with a bow. I'm not sure why it didn't come with a bow. But anyway, that's the wonderful Jacot tool, the Jacot. One thing I did forget to do earlier was put these little miniature screws back in, to hold the jewel setting in. So I just have to be aware that I don't screw up the pins here. Just put those back in. Hang on. See if I can get this one aligned. There we go. That's one. I think this one wasn't even a good one. I recall that this one wasn't even going down into the hole. But I'm going to see what I can do anyway. If I have to replace it, I'll do it later. Well, it's stuck in there, so now we've got the balance cock is configured properly. Almost fell. Now I just have to put this back together. So now I'm ready to put this in place. I need to put a little bit of power on the movement. I forgot to put the power on the movement, so I'm just going to put this onto a rest, whatever it's called. I'm really tired now, so let me just do this and wind this up just a bit. Pick the right one. So you can see I've done a lot of work on this movement today, so I want to make sure it enters from this side, so I just have to move the pallet fork back like that. And I haven't tested the bead area yet, so who knows? There we go, a little bit better of a close-up for you. So all the antics of watch repair. I do know I want this leaf though to be here, under here, but I doubt if I can do that until I've got the watch in, right? So let me just grab the movement, or the balance cock here. I am tired. Any minute my wife's going to drive in the driveway, so I'm just going to settle that down a bit. And I want to enter it from this side. So I'm going to drop it down like that and then rotate the watch. And you can see, I think there was a bit of ticking going on there. Look at that. A bit of ticking. Takes it some ticking and keeps on licking. Now, just like I did before, I want to lift this up ever so slightly and put the shim in, right? And I think I could just probably push on one side of this. Nah, do it properly here. And I know I need that shim, so. But I don't need the big one like I had before. I just need the small one. So I'm very carefully going to move this up. Should be good right around there. So I don't want that shim interfering with the mainspring. And let's just hope when I put this together nothing stops. Let me get my famous stick out. Here we go. And when I finish this, that's it for this video. I'm going to process this and put this up. And hopefully you folks enjoyed this, the adventure today, the adventures in watchmaking. Because I certainly did. I am tired though. Now let's make sure that doesn't stop. Nope, no stoppy. Perfect. So there we go. I can trim that with a razor blade. I just want to make sure this runs in all directions. So I think we're good to go. So thank you very much for watching this video today. I hope you really enjoyed this. I have to reassemble this watch, let it run out for a while, I think is what I want to do. Like I said before, I like for them to run for a couple of days before I bother with reassembling everything, just to make sure they're running properly and I don't have any issues. So I'll let that happen. Going to put a little bit more power on the mainspring here. I think it's getting pretty good. It's working pretty well, actually. I'm not sure what the amplitude is, but it might be better than it was before. I could check that in a second. Well, you can see my amplitude is a hell of a lot better. I'm now running over 200 degrees, which is really good. My rate still sucks, but my amplitude is very good. My bead error is a bit better, but not much. I did put it way over, so I'm not sure why the bead error is not better. But I'm really happy with the amplitude on this, so it's doing really well. And let me see, my frequency, my seconds per day is getting a bit better. So minus 40, minus 30. Oh, look at that. We're up to plus. So plus 28. Or plus 29. I'm at the edge of my measurements though, but I'm getting close to niceness here. 16, minus 16. Push it over just a bit. I know we're focusing on the minus 21, minus 22. I love the amplitude, so that's pretty good there. It's minus 19, minus 16, so it's running really well. So there's no problem there, except my bead error is still shitty, so not sure what to do there, but I'll probably end up working on that later on. So thank you very much for watching this video today. I enjoyed doing it. A lot of work, Jacot work on that. I managed to get rid of most of my shims. So, but I didn't want to get rid of all of them. So anyway, it's all good. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.